Please remember to tip the Wookiee bartender 20%. Wookiee bartenders, 20%. Don't piss off the bouncers. They're Wookiees too. No droids, no bounty hunters, no Raylos, no Ray Nobodies, no black pills, no black pill blobs. We don't do pessimism here. We don't talk about bankrupting Disney because that's never gonna, this is realistic, okay, so. But we do talk about seeing a Kennedy-free Lucasfilm. All right, so anyway, let's talk. So today, I probably should wait for people to come in, but I'm not going to. Today, guys, Caroline Reed of Forbes magazine posted a great article about the Acolyte, and it's interesting because here's all right. If you guys have seen the download, watch it. Okay, I'm gonna get a little more in depth here. She basically says, all right, this was the headline: Disney forced to reveal unequal pay on Star Wars: The Acolyte show. I have an opinion here. That was a clickbait title, which I don't appreciate. So she writes, documents filed by the Walt Disney Corporation have revealed that its latest Star Wars spin-off series, The Acolyte, isn't actually a force for equality despite famously featuring a female-centric cast. According to filings in early April last year, when production of the streaming series was still in full swing, just 30% of the 695 employees were female, and across the entire workforce, the women's hourly wage was 19% lower than the men's. I'm going to say it right now. This article was put out there to embarrass Kennedy, not Disney, okay? Because the Walt Disney Company never, ever, ever, ever gave the okay for this, okay? And when you look at even the New York Times reviews, and I think even the Rolling Stone reviews, they basically said the show is unfinished. It's haphazard. It doesn't make any sense. People have told me it's like watching a string of different scenes just kind of sewn together. Hedlund, we know through Sparrow, was not finished making the show. She was not finished. And it's up on the screen. Okay, so, all right. Set around 100 years before the events of Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, which they're trying to turn into Legends with the Ki-Adi-Mundi bullshit. The Acolyte sees a former Jedi apprentice reuniting with her master to investigate a series of crimes. All right, you're like, The Hunger Games, Amanda Stenberg has dual roles as the ex-student Osha and her evil twin May, who makes her mark in the first scene by executing Carrie-Anne Moss's character, Indara. Hey, Sci-Fi Universes. Indara, the British model Jodie Turner-Smith, stars as the twins' mother, Anastasia, who leads a coven of witches which wants to induct them. I don't know what that means, induct. Osha escapes their clutches and goes on the hunt for May, with the two Jedis played by Spanish actress Daphne Keane, Wolverine's female clone, and Logan, 2018's Logan, and Rebecca Henderson, the friend of Harvey's former personal assistant. I'm not giving them the satisfaction of calling whatever they have going on with each other a marriage, because it's not. All right, Black and international actors fill the show's ranks, leading it being dubbed the most inclusive and diverse live-action Star Wars project ever. It doesn't make it great, okay? I mean, in fact, that's not great at all. All right. All right. Which is, all right. It also led to the show being branded woke, which is supposedly the driving force behind its plummeting rating on review aggregator Rotten Tomatoes. Just a day after the show launched on June 4th, the audience score was at 50%. But since then, there has been a disturbance in the force. 4 of the 8 episodes have aired so far on Disney Plus live streaming. Yeah, well, it's not diverse. I mean, they killed the only white female human in the first scene. The low score has been attributed to unjustified and, I would say, alleged review bombing, with the key evidence being the fact that the show's Rotten Tomato critic score stands at a respectable 85%. Well, the funny things, having access media, that's how you get that. The fact that the New York Times and Rolling Stone didn't feel pressure to kiss its ass, but the trade rags did, says a lot. Okay, and that's the difference. All right. The people who reviewed The Acolyte for Variety and The Hollywood Reporter and Deadline probably didn't watch, aren't going to watch the rest of it. Okay, they put out there what they wanted because they didn't want Iger or whomever to Disney to be mad at them. So, but that whole 85% versus 13% now being bad, or not, doesn't make any sense. Well, it doesn't, until you realize 85% of the reviewers get kudos and things from Disney to do this. All right. However, and she follows that up with this. However, closely reading the interviews in some of the most prestigious print titles reveals serious structural problems with the show. This is where Cameron saying Hedlund handed off an unfinished project is proven right here. Okay. Most of the pieces are uneven at best, if not simply underwhelming, said Rolling Stone, while USA Today added the show is full of logical fallacies, hokey dialogue, and nonsensical plots. That's a charge that can be perhaps leveled at the best movies in the Star Wars saga, but the other key criticisms certainly can't. The Times of London, which is a pretty big BFD here, awarded The Acolyte 2 out of 5, driven by the show's somber expositional dialogue. Whilst, she's got to be British, whilst the New York Times said that beneath the familiar trappings, the visceral pull that Star Wars can summon in its best moments doesn't manifest itself. Characters speak in platitudes. Hey, Dave. Platitudes about loss, grief, loyalty, and revenge, and the cast mostly works down to the level of the dialogue. We see that no one here has the presence of mind to ad-lib like Harrison Ford and Carrie Fisher could, or Samuel L. Jackson. All right, Liam Neeson. Under Disney, Star Wars appears to be suffering from a strategy which can be described as the 3 I's: innovation, institutionalization, and iteration. This is a similar approach to the one the studio has taken with its Marvel Comics movies, and it starts with breaking new ground in the field. Yes, I do. After Disney acquired Star Wars creator Lucasfilm for $4 billion, 4.3 or 6, or that number is all over. They innovated it by pairing younger actors, Daisy Ridley and John Boyega, with Carrie Fisher, God bless her soul, Mark Hamill, and Harrison Ford, anyway, who starred in the original trilogy of movies 3 decades earlier. Actually, soon to be 4 decades earlier. First outing of the new group was 2015 Star Wars The Force Awakens, which, if you remember right, was supposed to come out the summer of 2015, but they had to go through reshoots. Why? Well, if J.W. Rinsler had been allowed to write the book he was going to write about it, we would know why. Reshoots, problems, over budgeting, going over budget, everything. You know, typical Kathleen Kennedy bullshit. Okay. All right. But brought the series bang up to date with cutting edge effects and the addition of scene-stealing, retro-inspired cute robot character BB-8. Hardly. Hey, Michael, how you doing? Hardly scene-stealing. We were all pretty much waiting for R2-D2 to come up and punch BB-8 in the face. This is my movie, not yours, shithead. Disney planned a new trilogy of movies from the outset, and as revealed, their takings and profits steadily declined. We know that. One of our first pieces for Forbes was about the fact that Disney did not break even with the Star Wars movies. And she declined to add the losses, the massive losses of Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. She put that in another article. All right, Ray, R-A-Y, because I'm not giving her the blessing of being an R-E-Y, became pinup for female audiences, and in 2016, Disney made Rogue One, a Star Wars story, a spin-off movie with another female lead, played by British actress Felicity Jones. The Trashlight steps up this strategy up a gear with a diverse cast designed to appeal to an even wider demographic. All right, everybody new in the chat, hi, how you doing? This is where I'm looking at Caroline Reed going, this part of the strategy isn't just smart, it's absolutely admirable. But it's not diverse. Where are the white boys? Where are the white girls that you didn't kill off? Okay. The problem is that the strategy doesn't stop there. Step 3, iteration. As Disney is trying to wring as much money out of Star Wars as possible, which they're capitalists, and yes, the capitalist company, and yes, they should. She knows that. She works for Forbes. The Acolyte is the 6th Star Wars streaming series to debut in the past 5 years alone, and another is on its way with multiple movies. The preponderance of productions puts paid a key part of the Star Wars formula, which made the original Star Wars trilogy so successful. Rarity. Fans had to wait years for the next installment in the saga, and this built up huge levels of hype, which have evaporated now as the next fix comes a few days after the previous one. Not really. If you remember, did he tell you that? Just let me finish, okay? Ahsoka, what was it, late last summer, Then we had to wait till after Christmas for the Bad Batch. This Bad Batch gets over. We have to wait months for the Trashlight. I'm waiting for Skeleton Crew. I don't give a shit about this. So she's wrong here. Unlike Marvel movies, the Star Wars shows are not ostensibly interlinked, though it comes across as if they are. Well, if you think that, we got Mandalorian linked up with Ahsoka. Okay. We have yet to see Skeleton Crew, and it's probably somehow linked up with Ahsoka or Mandalorian. We've got Heir to the Empire, the movie, linked up with Mandalorian, with Luke showing up. Okay, so she's wrong. Unlike Marvel movies, Star Wars shows are not ostensibly interlinked, though it comes across as if they are. There are so many productions that it's hard to keep up with them all, and when one is missed, it starts a vicious circle of fans maybe more reluctant to watch the next series in case they don't understand it. No. What do you... See, the woman should be talking about the money, not about Star Wars. She should be talking about what was lost, the fact that they have not announced views of episode 3 and episode 4 at all. And you know damn well, since Leslie Headland started backtracking on the gay shit that in the Hollywood Reporter, that the views have gone down. Again, all right. Even more problematically, the more shows there are, the more storylines Disney needs to come up with, and the harder it is for them to keep mustering the visceral pull that Star Wars can summon, even at its best moments, as the New York Times put it. Yeah, well, the sci-fi universe is right there. Disney has been pushed between a rock and a hard place. I'm going to posit this. I'm going to posit that it's not the quantity of Star Wars shows. It's the quality of Star Wars shows. It's the lack of oversight, or too much oversight in KK's instance when John wasn't around. Book of Boba Fett. Robert Rodriguez is a good director and a showrunner, and he got railroaded. All right, I mean, Skills Bikers gang? What the fuck? And the fact that the Fennec Shand saving, which connects Boba Fett with Mando, and remember, Mando shows up, right, to help. I will always say this: Lucasfilm would be fine, but for its people problem, for its staffing problem. And if you study anything that Ronald Reagan said, that other business people have said, that personnel is policy. I've said that before 1,000 times. You get the best people you can afford out there to be your face in front of the audience. And you know, Robert Rodriguez was a good thing if Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni had been above him doing this, you know, following him around. Instead, John goes off to Atlanta for something Disney wanted him to do, comes back to a fucking mess, has to gut the Book of Boba Fett season 3, put 2 episodes in there he didn't want to, okay, and then integrate it into what looked to me was a reshot, dumpster fire ending, okay. And I didn't mind the Book of Boba Fett, but I will say it wasn't as good as it could have been. Okay, I'm not going to sit there and damn it. I'm not going to be an unreasonable man-child about it. I mean, so, right. The best course of action would be to put a complete pause on the Star Wars series and build up hype in a future installment. But if that happened, revenues would decrease, which would be far from a dream ticket for shareholders. Accordingly, Disney has to keep on churning out shows, which makes it harder to maintain quality. Again, it is not the fact that we don't want to see a lot of Star Wars, that, every 3 months there's going to be an 8-week series that we get to sit back and, get up in the morning, have a cup of coffee, eat your breakfast, and, your egg whites and grilled tomatoes, and enjoy a Star Wars show and then talk about it. It's hey Mike, check your Instagram messages. Okay, thanks. Accordingly, so again, it is hiring J.J. Abrams, is hiring Lord and Miller, is hiring Ryan Johnson. It is hiring Harvey's former personal fucking assistant. It is hiring Rain Roberts. It is keeping Pablo Hidalgo around. That is the problem. If you look at any of the tweets from 2018 or whatever, these people didn't want to work for George Lucas. They couldn't wait for him to go. They couldn't. I mean, look at the attitude. Look at the attitude Freddie Prinze Jr. has had. All right? Didn't give two shits about the franchise. It was about fucking, hiring and firing Josh Trank. And now Iger's got this horrendous bitch, Charmin Obaid-Chinoy, still acting like she's got a Star Wars movie. When Iger said in the first earnings call of the year that they had canceled movies. One of them being the Rey movie. You know it is. Okay. Chinoy is still trying to squeeze out like Charmin, a turd for her to get noticed in Hollywood. What she doesn't seem to realize, because she's very disconnected from reality, is the fact that probably behind the scenes, they're talking about what a lousy job Kathleen Kennedy has done. All right, Disney has made so many Star Wars shows that inevitably, it has struck gold with some, notably The Mandalorian, which charts the exploits of a gruff, armored bounty hunter and his unlikely companion, Baby Yoda, aka Grogu. Series launched in 2019 and went on to win 15 Primetime Creative Arts Emmy Awards. All right. So she goes on to talk about more of this and blah, blah, blah. She doesn't talk about The Last Jedi and the controversy around that. She doesn't talk about the shit that is the rise of Palpatine. That said, despite the dire reviews, Disney says The Acolyte had 4.8 million views on its first day of release and 11.1 million views across its first 5 days, making it the studio series premiere of 2024 so far. How many, can somebody find the number, how many people actually subscribe to Disney Plus? Like 180 million? I'm a subscriber. I didn't watch it. That's less than 3% of the subscriber base. And they count a view even if you're only watching it for 16 seconds. All right, that's a view. This is, she's quoting propaganda bullshit. All right, she doesn't talk about how much it cost. So Raging Rhino did a really good video about the money. And, I don't know how many of you guys have actually seen The Acolyte. I know that Mike has, and, sorry, nose, allergies. The problem with this basically is that it cost 48. All right, that's not a big number of people watching this. So they were trying to get all the love and to make the shareholders happy that they could get. So, as we revealed, pre-production of The Acolyte cost $48.5 million. Which is more than Rogue One. Even pre-production costs of the main installments of Disney's Star Wars saga weren't far off The Acolyte. Disney only spent 17 more on the pre-production of the last Turd Burglar, and that was a surefire hit. Okay, well, we'll let you have that delusion. All right, spending isn't the only disclosure the UK government requires from studios, which film in the country. We'll get back to that, because this is where we're going to end up. Yep, and then you got your view added to that. Okay, just telling you right now. Here's the deal. They're not talking about who actually watched the whole thing, and they can measure that. Views, like I said, turn on for 16 seconds, turn off, that's a view. In their the way they tabulate things. Where was I going? All right, so people who've seen it, Mike, I know, quit watching at the end of episode 3, I think. I have seen where people have said, and Raging Rhino said the same thing, where's $180 million? Because it's not on the screen. When New York Times gets into structure, when Rolling Stone talks about stupid dialogue and all the rest of that stuff, when they talk about just a series of haphazard scenes, where's the $180 million? All right. It's not there because they didn't spend that much money. And if they did, it wasn't being spent on the show. That ridiculous. Oh yeah, Mike, you're right. Smilo Ren. Well, that looks like Venom. Yeah, and 13%, Dave is right. So you're wondering where the money went. And I think she might just be scratching the surface. 180 million, rounded up to 200. And it's like, what are we doing with this? What are we, you're looking at this going, I don't where's the money? Where did the money go? Now, we'll go further. Let's talk about the embarrassment for Kennedy here. Inequality has been a hot topic recently for Lucasfilm president Kathleen Kennedy. but not this kind of inequality. Defending Headland's stewardship of the Acolyte in an interview with the New York Times, she said, I think Leslie has struggled a little bit with it. I think a lot of the women who step into Star Wars struggle with this a bit more because of the fan base being so male dominated. They sometimes get attacked in ways that can be quite personal. Yeah, by the women fans like me who call them out. Before bemoaning the lack of women and the Star Wars fan base, she's such a fucking cunt. Perhaps she should have ensured that the ones who are working behind the scenes on its latest show are getting paid the same as the men. If and only if they're doing the same job. If one woman is sitting there, secretary or script girl, that is not the same as somebody with a camera. Okay. You know, okay. So, until that happens, all they can do is to continue to hold out for a new hope. Yeah, I know, and I know that came from Doomcock, and Sparrow said no, they didn't spend that much. You know, like I said, Headland handed in what she had, which wasn't much. She, you know, borrowed the set from Andor a lot. And, you know, they had evidence of monies. Oh, yeah, yeah. But when you're looking at different jobs, again, why should there be pay equality? You know, it's like looking at a secretary in an office and saying she should be paid as much as the guy that crawls up towers to fix power lines. It's like, I didn't know sitting on your ass all day was defying death, but what do I know? Oh yeah, yeah, Peter's right there too. We were told, I mean, this is, all right, this is what happened. Headland filmed what she had. It was, she basically handed in the sizzle reel that she showed to chosen audience at a celebration last year after she made this tearful, crocodile tear-laden bullshit speech. You know, I mean, I'm sure she tries to figure out why don't people like the Acolyte. In fact, the rumors walking around Lucasfilm, people who wanted it, have been walking around crying about, I don't understand why they don't like it. Female-centric horseshit, poor dialogue, poor storytelling, amateurish fan film, okay. Then we get the woke shit, okay. We get the woke shit. We get, when the cast realizes the fans hate it, what's her face, Amanda Stenberg making a song attacking the fans and calling us racist. It's like, listen, you little bitch. You made a lousy show. It's not your fault. You're part of it. And if you want people to watch it, I would think not calling us racist would be something you could not do anymore. Okay. Maybe apologize for being part of it. I don't know. It's just me, you know. And of course, then Headland walks back her statement about it being so gay let's find that. I think I still have it saved. On Okay. All right, so here's the headline. The Acolyte creator doesn't believe her new series star... Sorry, gotta do this. The Acolyte creator doesn't believe her new Star Wars series is queer with capital Q. Here's a question. Since the show seems very cut up very strangely, how much of the intimacy coordinator shit was left on the cutting room floor? Because they did hire one. They also hired someone, one of the actresses, I think it was that dog-faced Daphne Keane, basically saying that they hired somebody to teach them how to be Jedi, like do the Force, like close windows. Why? Is that where the money went, to bullshit like that? You know, it just goes to show you how little Leslie Headland knows about the franchise. She doesn't know anything about it. I mean, that's her thing is she wants to tell us that she wants to tell everybody she knows so much about it. And really she doesn't know shit. And she's walking all the stuff she said back. Now why? Probably because they're basically being told no one's watching this. I mean, 3%, %, RT score is not something to be proud of, okay? And, you know, this is the difference between being a paid shill and being a fan, all right? And the 13% reflects a growing unruly audience, and it's not review bombing. God, don't. Well, the thing about it is, first off, I think it does reflect quality, at least in the costuming, the use of like volume stage and the effects. Okay, so it does. And editing and CGI and all the VFX and all the rest of that stuff. When you're looking at this, and it's this appalling, it's like, where'd the money go? All right, look at The Last Jedi. At least it was pretty. All right, it was a shitty movie, shitty script, shitty acting. I mean, Carrie wasn't in it, and with it, she was sick already. Mark was like, fuck this shit. I don't know what the hell I'm doing here. Daisy Ridley is a mediocrity at best. Adam Driver's completely overvalued and overestimated as a talent. And, you know, kind of like, you got to talk about that. It looked nice. You know, the Holdo maneuver was completely stupid. And before TLJ came out, you know, Rogue One actually basically denied the Holdo maneuver. All right, watch the battle scene at the end. You know, there you go. It's in production value, and people have talked about that. And again, that's Headland not being the kind of person that could work on this. I think she directed every episode. She had other people connected to it, but I think she directed every episode. I'll tell you something else. You look at the producers of this, and I think a lot of people were brought in to donate money for this. Because there were people that are listed that are not part of Lucasfilm, that are just actors. Okay, so it's like, what the hell is going on here? So it's very interesting looking at this. But I want to talk a little bit more about Caroline Reed and the article that came out in Hollywood Reporter about Leslie Headland walking it back, but everything she said, because she realizes that it's hurting the show. It's like you're talking to a fan base who didn't want you to make the motherfucking show. Anyway, here we are. Anyway, I gotta go. I gotta go see the horse and figure out what to throw together for dinner. You guys have a good evening, and I will see you around the galaxy.